Hello and welcome to Gardening at 58 North. In this video I'd like to give you an update on my plant in a stone. So this is a Portulacaria, which is very similar looking to the money plant, but it's not related to it at all. It's a succulent plant, and as you can see it looks very similar to a jade plant, but it's actually a Portulacaria. So the reason I chose this was it's a succulent, so it can do well with dry situations, and the stone itself, I was very lucky to find it. I was just going on the beach and I managed to find a perfect stone because it's nice and flat on the bottom, as you can see, so it sits nicely on a table or a shelf. And it also amazingly had a hole, quite a big hole as well. You can't really see how big it is now because the plant's in there and there's compost in there, but it's quite a large hole. Obviously compared with a normal pot it's very small, so that's why I had to go with a succulent plant, something that could survive with very little soil and something that could survive with the soil drying out very quickly and not suffering from a lack of water. So I planted this in here, and the reason it's been so long since I've done an update is actually because nothing really happened. It's just sat there and it didn't really do anything, so I thought an update would be a bit boring really, but it's now done a little bit of growing, so I thought it was time to do an update. But to be honest, the only growing it's done really is in the stem and the roots. The stem and the roots have really been establishing well, and it's really quite a well-established root system now. So I'll show you in closer detail. Hopefully my camera can pick it up and focus properly. You can see there the stem has actually thickened quite a lot, and the roots down here have grown a lot, and you can actually see that it's starting to swell, and it's got a nice little bit of flare starting on the base. And it's actually swollen its roots so much that it's completely solidly attached to the stone now. It was in quite a thin crack anyway. You can see the crack on this side, so you can have an idea of what it was like on here. And it's just sandwiched itself in there and wedged against it. And I can show you, if I very carefully lift it, the plant actually takes the entire weight of the stone. It's that well wedged into the crevice. So there's no way it's coming out. If I forced it out, it might come out, but I'd probably actually snap the stem. So it's completely solid in there, and the roots have gone down really far into the crevices, so it's nice and established. And it spent the first few months doing that really, no growth whatsoever, just fattening up at the base here, and its roots just exploring the cavities of the rock, trying to find any moisture that it could find. And that was fine, just sat there doing nothing. But since then it has put on a little bit of growth. Now, when I last showed you, it did have this main trunk and the two side branches. There's been no growth further on these two side branches, but there has been a lot of lateral growth coming off from the side starting. So you can see here in the last few weeks you've got these little side shoots which have started to grow, and there's also a little bit just off the side from the tip that's starting to grow as well on this section of the branch. For some reason this branch here hasn't really put any growth on whatsoever. I'm not sure why that is, but I'm quite happy with it. I would like it to put on some more growth, but it's been winter, so I'm not expecting much more growth until spring. Spring and summer though, I should expect a good bit of growth. And it's surprising how much water I've been giving this actually, and it just seems to soak it right up. So it's a surprisingly thirsty plant, considering that it's a succulent and there's not really much root space in there. But it's doing all right. So I've started to feed it a bit more now as well, that it's coming into late winter and the sun's getting stronger. So I'm just giving it a feed. I'm making sure the feed is quite low in phosphorus, and the reason for that is I don't want to develop any more of the root system, because if I give it a lot of phosphorus it will put a lot of energy into the roots will just grow, fill up the whole area in here, and there'll be no space for the fine feeder roots, no space to water, and the top half wouldn't grow. So I'm giving it quite a high nitrogen feed. That's to encourage a lot of leaf and top growth, and I don't really want to encourage any more root growth because its roots have actually grown really well already. So what I should expect is these side shoots to grow a lot more, maybe a few more to start appearing, hopefully some growth from this one as well. And I'm going to try and grow it as like a miniature bonsai, I think. I'm not entirely sure, but I'll just leave it for now, let it put on some growth, see what kind of branches and framework I'm going to develop on it, and then see how it does. So I'm quite happy with this. It sits on my windowsill. It needs quite a sunny place, being a succulent plant that it is. So I'm quite happy with it. It would actually make a really nice paperweight, I think. Quite a quirky looking paperweight. If I had a desk that had a lot of sunshine, my desk doesn't have a lot of sunshine, so this isn't a suitable plant for it. But I'm generally very happy. That's my first ever stone I've managed to plant a plant in. it's kind of like a natural pot, and it has done really well. So that's about it for the update on this Portulacaria planted in the stone. I'll keep you guys updated over the summer as it grows, and hopefully it's going to be quite a nice little plant.